The incident I'm about to tell you about happened in the year 2017. I was 7 months pregnant with my daughter at the time. I was living with my aunt, who was the only person that helped me in my hour of need. She supported me and my baby throughout. Honestly, she was the mother I never had. Due to the prime stage of my pregnancy, she hardly ever let me do anything. But one day, she came down with a fever. Out of no other option, I had to drive to the store to pick up some snacks for my cravings. I hate being the damsel in distress, so I assured her I would be just fine. She told me to be careful, lying on her bed, and I smiled at her, locking the door behind me. I got into her car and drove down to the Dollar Tree outlet about 3 blocks away from our place. Upon reaching the store, I pulled up a shopping cart from the corner and started walking. I was passing aisle after aisle carelessly, looking for some munchies when I noticed the chips on the top shelf. No matter how much I tried, I wasn't able to reach them. The added body weight made it difficult for me. Just then, a voice spoke from behind. "Let me help you." Turning around, I saw an old lady standing behind me. She had a caring smile. I smiled back and moved so she could grab the chips for me. Once she handed them to me, I smiled again and said, "Thank you." She caressed my cheek and then looked around with confused eyes. "Where is your husband, dear?" "I don't have one." "Oh, then the father of the child?" He's not in the picture." "I see." Knowing that I was here by myself, her eyebrows frowned. She again looked around and then said in a worried voice, "You shouldn't roam around alone in this condition." "No, my aunt takes care of me, but she fell ill. That's why I had to come here today." "Okay, so how long have you been living with your aunt?" "For a couple of months now." "And what about your parents?" By this time, I started to feel a little awkward with her questions. I tried to walk past her, but she tagged along like my shadow. Every aisle I went to, she went with me while asking various questions. I told her about my parents and generally everything she asked. Now I realize what a huge mistake that was. But at the moment, I thought she was just concerned about me. She went on with her advice and suggestions about how to care for the baby and me. One thing that unsettled me about her was the way she talked. She barely blinked. Her eyes were always moving around, watching every move in the Dollar Tree outlet. There weren't many people in the store. I grabbed some juice boxes when the woman leaned towards me in a creepy way and said, "For your cravings, huh? If I was your aunt, I would have taken way better care of you. She already takes good care of me. Well, you are here alone and this condition proves otherwise." I began to feel pissed off as the old lady kept shaming my aunt for not being a good guardian. I tried to shake her off, but she wasn't taking my hint at all. So, I ignored her and started to walk the other way. The old lady followed me again, but this time, things started to get creepy. "Why don't you come with me?" She asked this out of the blue and kept smiling at me like it was perfectly casual to say to someone that you just met in a department store. "Excuse me? I could take good care of you and your baby. I have this big farmhouse located on the outskirts. Trust me, you and your baby will have the best life. I have to go home now." Saying this, I turned to walk away, but the old lady grabbed my cart and stopped me. She smiled big and said, "Okay, let's drive to your place first so you can take all your stuff. I will take you to my place." I couldn't keep calm anymore. I pulled her hand away from my cart, which came as a shock to the woman, but she moved back a bit. "I am not interested in living with you. I have my aunt to take care of me. Now please leave me alone." Her face turned all serious hearing my angry voice. She looked down for a while and then again looked at me in the eyes. A creepy grin appeared on her face and she spoke in a spine-chilling voice. "But what if something happens to you? Your aunt is not with you now. Life is very uncertain, you know." "What? What do you mean? You're a freak. Stay the hell away from me or I'll report you to the cops." Saying this, I didn't wait a single second near her. While walking away, I looked back to see if she was following me, but this time, she was gone. My eyes searched for her the entire time I was inside the Dollar Tree, but I didn't see her. After checking out, one Dollar Tree employee helped me to carry the bag up to my car. Wishing me a good day, the employee went back in, and I found myself standing in the empty parking lot. All I wanted was to drive home ASAP, but my panic-stricken mind suddenly gave birth to the urge of peeing. Being pregnant and driving while holding your pee was next to impossible for me at that moment, so I had no other choice than to finish my business. The public restrooms of Dollar Tree are located at the end of the store, and I didn't want to go in just to meet that creepy old lady one more time. So I decided to use the small washroom in the parking lot. I locked my car and walked to the left corner of the parking lot. It was a small restroom with 3 toilets. No one was in there when I got in. I entered the first toilet and was doing my business when I heard the washroom door creak open, followed by slow footsteps. At first I didn't react to it because literally anyone uses these washrooms. But then suddenly the footsteps stopped. Being alert and scared at the same time, I tried to listen to every sound taking place, but it was just pin-drop silence. I kept staring at the door, being covered in sweat when I heard heavy breathing above me. The blood in my veins froze as I slowly lifted my eyes, following the breathing sound. As my eyes noticed the partition wall of the toilet right next to mine, my stomach dropped. It was the same old lady from the Dollar Tree. She was standing on the toilet seat to take a peek at me. I will never forget that moment in my entire life. Her wide, scary eyes watched me silently. She didn't say a single word, just stared at me with an expressionless face. I wanted to scream, but I lost my voice. She then spoke. "You need to come with me. I'll take good care of you and your baby. Please just leave us alone. Do you want money? I can give you some money." "Keep your freaking money, I want your baby." Saying this, she stretched her hands, trying to grab me. I got up, screaming for my life. I opened the bathroom door and came out in panic. The old lady got down from the toilet seat and chased me out of the washroom. It was the most difficult run of my life. I rushed to my car while the lady laughed like a maniac behind me. I kept screaming, "Come here, I want your baby. I would take good care of you too, come to me." I somehow got into the car and closed the door before she could reach me. Her hand came in between, but I slammed the door hard. I could hear bones cracking, followed by a painful scream as my car door broke her wrist, but I didn't care anymore. I drove away at full speed while the lady kept yelling, "This is not the end, just remember that." I broke into tears after reaching home. My aunt immediately called the cops and warned them about this lady and everything that happened to me there at the Dollar Tree. The cops never found the woman, but a week after this incident, I read a missing persons report in the newspaper. It was about a pregnant woman in her late 20s. She went shopping in the same Dollar Tree outlet one afternoon, and since then, no one had seen her. To date, no one knows what happened to her or her baby. I strongly believe that the creepy old woman had something to do with that disappearance. The incident I'm about to share happened when I was about 13 years old. My parents were going through a divorce at that time, so the atmosphere at home wasn't very ideal. We lived in a small neighborhood where I could barely make any friends. To pass my time, I used to sketch a lot. Saving my pocket money from side jobs, I would buy various art and craft items to channel the amateur artist in me. Dollar Tree was my go-to place to buy everything, as things there were pretty cheap and affordable. The Dollar Tree store was 3 blocks away, right next to the gas station on the highway. I would ride my bike there 2 to 3 times a week. It was a big store with a huge collection of all kinds of household materials and even more than that. One time I went to the store around 3 in the afternoon. I preferred this hour as very few customers used to be there then. Parking my bike at the corner, I entered the store. Long aisles packed with tall shelves filled with all kinds of goods stood in front of me. The cashier was dozing off, sitting behind his desk. I figured out that there were probably 2 to 3 people in there, excluding me. I started checking out the store. The art and craft section had a sale. I picked up a new set of charcoal pencils and some acrylic paint to decorate a flower pot. I was so into shopping that I didn't realize someone was standing behind me. I suddenly heard a hiccup and, being startled, turned around to see a man dressed as Jack Sparrow from the famous Johnny Depp movie standing behind me. It was a closed space, so there was barely a gap between us. Feeling discomfort, I moved away from him a little and said, "Sorry, I didn't see you there." But I saw you," he replied. At first, I thought he was just being in character, but with the way his hiccups appeared, I realized this dude was drunk as a skunk. His pupils were dilated and I could smell the whiskey on his clothes. "Why are you dressed like that?" I asked. "Just like Jack Sparrow," he replied. His mouth opened wide in shock as if I had said something unexpected. He just stared at me, eyes wide, mouth open, overall very creepy. Then he said in a greasy voice, "But I thought, I am Jack Sparrow." "What?" I responded, laughing a bit. "Oh, you are laughing, so you don't believe me, huh?" Suddenly, his face changed. His eyebrows frowned, and I could tell he felt insulted by my sarcastic laugh. Not knowing how to answer a stupid question from a drunk, I stood there with an awkward face. "Answer your captain, you lowlife," he demanded. "You are the shittiest Jack Sparrow I've ever seen in my whole life," I said, turning around to leave him be. Luckily, the man didn't follow me. After a while, I walked to the cashier to pay. I gave a quick scan of the store and realized the man wasn't there anymore. Feeling relieved, I came out of the store, and that's when my nightmare began. I remember very well where I had parked my bike, and to my surprise, it wasn't there. My stomach dropped as I heard a burst of spine-chilling laughter followed by the ring of a bicycle bell. It came from the dark parking lot at some distance. There was no one around to whom I could ask for help, but I was adamant too. I wasn't going home without my bike. With trembling steps, I walked into the parking lot. There were a few cars, and the light in the parking lot was blinking like crazy. It took some time for my eyes to adjust to that creepy ambiance, but what I saw made my skin crawl. The creepy Jack Sparrow was sitting on my bike, parked right at the end of the parking lot. I couldn't make out his face, but I am sure he was smiling creepily. When he noticed me going there, he suddenly screamed, "You need to find yourself a girl, mate." Saying this, he pedaled faster, almost like a fired bullet coming straight at me. Having enough at that point, I screamed and started to run for my life. I heard the man laugh like a maniac. He was chasing me on my bike, and I don't even know why. All I know is that if he caught me, he surely wouldn't let me go unharmed. "I'm gonna catch ya! I'm gonna catch ya!" he shouted. Leaving the parking lot behind, I began running down the highway. Just my luck, no car was seen there. Almost in a panic, I ran in the opposite direction instead of going into the Dollar Tree. The man was now riding my bike on the highway and laughing even more loudly. He was having fun scaring the shit out of me. The scorching heat was draining me. I was getting tired, hence slow. I could hear the psycho Sparrow pedaling faster. It felt like I would never be able to outrun him. I was almost on the verge of collapsing in the middle of the road when I saw a big truck coming my way. Seeing it, the urge to live again blossomed in my heart. I started to move my hands up and down in the air while screaming at the truck, "Stop! Please stop! I need help! Stop!" The truck driver noticed me and honked the horn. I turned back and saw the man had stopped pedaling. He looked at me, then at the truck, and then back to me again. Realizing the truck would stop for me and I had nothing to be scared of now, his angry eyes burned in hatred. The evil joy from his face disappeared and he slowly got up from my bike. He then kicked it to make it fall on the concrete road. My bicycle bell broke and he ran into the woods. When the truck driver picked me up along with my cycle, I was completely exhausted, drenched in my own sweat, breathing heavily as I gasped for air. "Please just take me home," I pleaded. Except for directing the way to my house, I didn't speak a single word to the truck driver. When he dropped me home, I thanked him for his help and went straight into my room. I didn't go out for almost a week. Every time I heard a bicycle bell, I got goosebumps. The reason I never shared this experience is that no one would ever take it as a threat. Everyone would assume that the crazy guy dressed as Jack Sparrow was only joking with me. Not a single night goes by without me having a nightmare about that psycho man riding my bike while chasing me in a Jack Sparrow costume. I used to work at Dollar Tree, a popular dollar store, for about 6 months several years ago. I worked as a cashier, and after being there for only a few months, I would occasionally work by myself. We were always trying to hire more people, but luckily, every time I was the only one working, it was never that bad. I worked mostly night shifts, usually until close. We closed at 10 p.m., and the store was in a quiet area. One quiet night, I was working by myself. It was slightly rainy outside, and it would sprinkle on and off. I noticed this because the front of the store, where the check lanes were, had windows looking out into the parking lot. After 8 p.m. that night, we hardly got any customers. The rain must have kept people in. I kept myself busy by doing small tasks, organizing things, and going on my phone. The last hour always dragged out, but it was also nice to know that I would be going home soon. On this night, after 9 p.m., we didn't have a single customer, which was fine with me. I always felt a little nervous being the lone employee on the clock when somebody came in late at night. But at about 9:15 or so, I saw a car pull into the wet parking lot. Up to that point, my car had been the only one there. This car that pulled in was older and dark blue, a 4-door sedan, and it parked in the closest parking space. Then I saw a man get out. He was a bit of a bigger guy and wore a blue raincoat and a gray and red baseball cap. He left his car and approached the store. After going inside, he walked down one of the aisles. I stayed by the register at my check lane and went on my phone. A few minutes later, I observed the man walking through the aisles towards the front of the store. He seemed to be just kind of casually looking around. He didn't have any items in hand and soon walked back out of my sight. Then he slowly walked towards the front. I looked over and made eye contact with the man for a brief moment. To be friendly, I smiled a little and said, "Hi." The man just looked away and then slowly walked to the exit. Then he left the store. I watched the man get back inside his car and then drive away. I was back to being by myself again. By now it was about 9:30. I walked around the store and made sure that everything was in order. Then I decided to clean the floors now so I could leave right at 10. Luckily for me, nobody came to shop as I did so. This took me until about 9:50. Then I went back to my check lane and went on my phone for the remaining 10 minutes. I was checking the time on my phone every minute so that I could close right at 10. At 9:58 p.m., I saw a car pulling into the parking lot. I had a bad feeling, but then I noticed something. It was the same car that had just been there. There was no mistaking it because this was an older-looking car and kind of unusual. The man who had just been there about 30 minutes ago was back, but he did not park close to the store this time. Now he parked right next to my vehicle. I had parked somewhat far away and up against a curb. The man parked on the side of the car closer to me, so my car was mostly obstructed from my vision by his car. I thought this was a little bit strange. I figured maybe the man had dropped something on the ground when he was in the store and came back to get it. I'm not sure why, but that's the possible explanation that went through my head. The man did not get out of his car, though, as I had expected him to. Instead, he stayed inside of his car with the engine running. At 10 p.m., it was now time for me to lock the doors, and I walked over to them, all the while keeping my eyes on the car in the parking lot. I wondered if he would get out when I approached the doors or something like that. I was a little worried for some reason. He didn't. I made it to the front doors and successfully locked them. Then I walked to the back area to clock out of my shift. After doing so, I returned to the front, hoping and sort of expecting to see that the man was now gone. After all, he could clearly see that we were now closed, and I had just locked up. But the car was still there. It appeared as though the man was still inside of it. Now I had a really bad feeling. Why did he choose to park right next to me? There were a dozen closer spaces, and why was he even here at all? I thought about just walking out, going to my car and leaving, but my instincts just told me not to. What if the man was waiting for me? I decided to wait inside and hope that the man would leave. I sat inside at my check lane, going on my phone and looking up every minute or so to see if the guy was gone yet. But he wasn't leaving, and soon 30 minutes had passed. It was now 10:30 at night, and the man was still parked right next to my car in his. I decided that I would text my best friend Brenna, who happened to live pretty close by. After telling her the situation, she offered to come and pick me up in her car, and I agreed. I told her to drive right up to the front doors. My car and the man were much further away on the backside of the parking lot. She told me that she was leaving, and about 5 minutes later, I saw her car enter the parking lot. I walked over to the front of the store and then walked out right as she pulled up. She stopped briefly, let me in the passenger seat, and then quickly drove away. We left, and thankfully the man did not follow us in his car. We drove back to Brenna's house and then returned to the Dollar Tree a short time later. The man's car was now gone. Brenna dropped me off, and I was able to get inside my vehicle okay, and then drive home. After that experience, I really wonder what the man was doing. Was he waiting for me to get to my car, and did he have something planned? I'm glad I didn't have to find out. When I was 16, I got a job at my local supermarket. It was a nice enough job, and the work wasn't too bad. I lived in a nice part of town, so the customers were mostly seniors and the richer families. There were some incidents, but mostly just disgruntled customers or shoplifting lawyers. I worked there for almost 3 years, right up until I was 18, right up until June 24th, 2008. That night I was working an 8-hour shift that went until 11. The first few hours went smoothly, but around 6 it started to rain. This wasn't your average drizzle, but an outright downpour. When it was time for my meal break, I realized that I had left my wallet in my car. I decided against grabbing an umbrella from Lost and Found and opted to just make a run for it. Big mistake. I was only a 10-second run from the front doors, but by the time I got back inside, I was thoroughly soaked. I bought a snack and headed upstairs to dry off. About half an hour later, I went back downstairs, still damp. I stepped through the break room door and looked around. The store was almost empty. I walked towards customer service, only spotting 1 or 2 customers. I was surprised to see so few people at 7:30, but I figured most people didn't want to go out in the rain. I stepped back into the check stand and started chatting with my coworker, Maria. We talked about her kids and helped with the occasional soggy customer. Most of them realized that they were out of something essential, like milk or toilet paper. Occasionally the lights would flicker slightly, but that was probably just the storm. I could hear some rumbling in the distance, but it was pretty far away. "I'll refill the shelves tomorrow," I said. Saying this, I went to the shopping racks, and I looked outside. At some distance from the store, I saw 2 dogs eating out of a knocked-over dumpster. There was a big bush area behind them, and it was moving. Not like a random movement, rather slow, jerky ones. Suddenly, the 2 dogs turned back and started growling at the bush. Just then, Maria yelled, "Joanna, come and help me." "What the hell?" I muttered, coming over. I got up and walked to her with a very confused mind. Those dogs kind of vanished into thin air, and I was pretty sure I saw something coming out of that bush, but it was so fast. By the time we restacked the aisles and came back to our seats, it was 15 minutes past closing time. We called Victor, who was our night cleaning guy. He came and started to wipe the floors. Victor lived in a small garage behind the supermarket, so he was like our handyman as well. He came mopping the floor right next to my stand and asked, "Oh, good, you look a little worried." "No, it's nothing. I'm just tired," I replied. "Okay, I'll make it quick then." Thanks, I said. I started to pack up my things and Victor went to finish his work. He was always nice to me. We dated for a while too. Anyway, as I came out and stood right beside the exit to smoke, I noticed the empty highway surrounded by woods. The streetlights made the ambiance even spookier. I lit up the smoke, and with a flicker, I noticed two huge yellow eyes staring at me from that bush. The eyes blinked slowly and stopped the beat of my heart. "You forgot your phone on the desk, Joanna." I turned back and saw Victor yelling for me. Something kicked in, and I ran inside at full speed. As I closed the door behind me, a bolt of huge lightning struck and the lights went off. Bloody hell, what a night. "I'll light some candles," Maria said, lighting the candles and keeping them on stands. Victor sat down near a window and lit up a cigarette. Suddenly breaking the silence, I spoke. "Something is out there." "What? What did you say?" Maria asked. "I said something is outside. I think something ate those dogs, or I don't know." "What are you saying, Joanna? What dogs?" "Guys, believe me. Something evil is out there, some kind of creature. It has eyes like a cat, but they're huge." "It's probably a cat. You spooked yourself," Victor said. "No, Victor. I know what I saw." "Fine. I'll go check it out." "No, don't." Victor took his mop in one hand and a flashlight in the other. He went out, and Maria followed him. Having no other choice, I had to follow them as well. We came out, and I pointed to the bush. Victor poked the bush with the end of the mop and then threw his flashlight on it. As soon as he did, my blood froze. A partial head of a cat-like creature could be seen from the bush. The eyes were watching us while its sharp, long ears sprung out like antlers. "What the hell is that?" "Hello, kitty kitty. Come here. Are you hungry?" Maria called out. "Maria, don't. Don't get too close to it." But Maria didn't listen. As she went too close to the bush, just then, the power came back on and the big lamppost right above the bush flashed on. We all became numb with fear. Standing behind the bush was a huge creature, almost as big as a lion, but it had a very slim body with no fur, like a sphinx cat, but oddly had hair on its face and a thin layer of fur around its neck. It had a huge drooling jaw, which opened and licked its lips with its huge teeth. It was a four-legged animal, but it was standing on its 2 feet like a werewolf. Victor threw the mop at it in fear and started running to the store. I did the same too, but before Maria could run, the creature flung its sharp claws on her flesh and grabbed her by the other hand. Then with one small press, it broke her body into 2 pieces. It was horrifying to watch, but there was no way I could have helped her. Helping her would have brought me the same fate. We got in and closed the glass door, but I knew it wasn't enough to hold this beast from killing us. It ate our colleague and wiped the blood off its lips with one leg and slowly disappeared into the darkness of the woods. The cops investigated Maria's death as a missing person case. Her body was never found, it never will be. I just hope that none of you come across that creature ever in your life. A couple of months ago, I was shopping at my local dollar store. I go there quite often and get all kinds of things, whatever I need, really. I don't mind that the quality is cheap because I save lots of money shopping there. While I don't get just anything, the items I do buy work out just fine for me. The apartment I live in happens to be within walking distance of the dollar store, making it very convenient. One late Saturday afternoon, I decided to head to the dollar store to pick up a few things. It was a quick 10-minute walk from my apartment to the store. This dollar store is smaller and never usually that busy. As I walked in that afternoon, I noticed just a couple of other people scattered throughout the store. I grabbed a basket and began shopping. However, I didn't make it very far before something odd happened. When I reached the back corner of the store, I saw a man standing there openly drinking a beer. He was dressed a little oddly, wearing a green sweater and sort of dress pants. He didn't look homeless, but he also didn't look particularly clean or sharp. It was really odd, and actually pretty funny to see the guy just standing there sipping out of a beer bottle. He wasn't shopping, but just standing there, and I could see another open beer bottle hanging out of his pocket. I sort of laughed and smiled to myself when I saw this. The guy wasn't looking at me, though. Someone else walked past him, giving the man an odd look. I was shopping for some items nearby, but I got a little bit nosy and looked over every so often to see if the guy was still there. The dollar store didn't sell beer, so I guess the guy must have brought it in with him. Soon after, I heard a store employee approach him. They told the man he had to leave and that he wasn't supposed to be drinking in there. The man was not happy. There was a brief argument before he stormed off. He didn't seem that drunk, but I guess he could have been. It was kind of unreasonable to walk into a store drinking a beer like that. Maybe he was pulling a prank or something. I finished up my shopping and went to check out. I got maybe 5 things, and the cashier put them all in a bag. After paying, I left and started to walk home. I made it about halfway back and was on the sidewalk when I saw the man up ahead, the guy who had been drinking in the store. He looked really angry now and was standing by a mailbox drinking one of his beers. I noticed him staring at me as I walked closer. When I got about 10 feet away, the man's eyes hadn't left me. I smiled friendly and asked him how he was doing. The man kept his angry look and then cursed at me. I was really surprised. I decided to just walk past him and not say anything more. But as I was walking away, the man said, "Where do you think you're going?" I told the man that I was walking home, but as I did, I heard his footsteps approaching mine. I turned around to face him, and he looked even angrier. I told the man that I didn't want any trouble and was just trying to get home. The guy started cursing at me again. Now I figured he must have been drunk. His speech wasn't slurred, but there was no other explanation for his erratic behavior. I turned to keep walking home, but the man then grabbed my shoulder and tugged me back. That's when I jerked away and started sprinting. The man began to chase after me, but he wasn't very fast. I ran all the way back to my apartment and got inside. Luckily, the man stopped chasing me just before my building. I had never felt unsafe before in my neighborhood, but after that incident I realized I have to be a little more careful. I'm not sure what that man's problem was, but I hope not to see him again. I love going to Dollar Tree. I belong to a family with few resources, and it is one of the only places where we can go together and buy a lot of things. Even if we don't buy anything, it's a great family outing because the kids have a good time, and we can go out without feeling the pressure of spending money. That day, Thomas, my husband, had just gotten a job and invited us all to grab something we wanted. The kids were elated. What none of us knew is that cheap sometimes costs dearly. When we entered the store, our 2 children were very excited, and without giving us time to ask them to stay with us, they ran to the toy section. Martin, our oldest son, bought a helicopter while Gwen grabbed a warplane. Clearly, they had agreed to buy similar toys before they came in, which amused me a little, and I was happy for them. After Thomas picked out a screwdriver, I was very happy that I was finally going to be able to buy a picture frame that I had seen a few weeks earlier. It may seem like a simple thing I could have bought earlier, but when you're struggling to get food on your table, every dollar counts. I went to get it at the end, and there it was. It was the last one in the store. I was happy to imagine putting it next to my bed. I was going to put up a picture of our family and look at it every night before I went to sleep. I went happily as a child to grab it, and as soon as I held it, a woman pushed me and violently pulled it out of my hands. "Hey, I saw it first. Get your dirty, poor hands off of it," she snapped. The woman was large, stocky, and athletic. Despite being in a gym outfit, you could tell it was brand name clothing and that she was well off. "What the—" I saw it first. "How dare you push me like that?" "No, you grabbed it first, but I had seen it before. I'm not going to get into an argument with a low-class cockroach like you. Go make your husband some lunch. First of all, treat me with respect. I'm a person just like you. Nothing gives you the right to push me around. Second, who I cook for is my problem. You should thank me for touching you in your supermarket clothes. It's a miracle that your children are not in a zoo and your husband is not the one who cleans, she said with malice and a huge smile. My patience had limits. I consider myself a very calm woman who always tries to come to an agreement, but when someone messes with my family, I explode. Furious, I slapped her, took the picture frame out of her hand, turned around and left, dedicating a few last words to her as I walked away before the bewildered eyes of Thomas and my children. Oh, and by the way, if you're so wealthy, don't come shopping at Dollar Tree. The woman just froze. Her face turned as red as a tomato, and she started breathing heavily, gathering anger with every passing second. The veins in her face began to bulge more and more. The lady had gone from being a random Karen to an enraged gorilla that could jump out and attack us at any moment. Disinterested in this performance, I simply joined my family and kept walking. Wow. Nice to meet you, Angela, Thomas said. Shut up. I would never let a resentful witch like that mess with my beautiful family. Speaking of, I guess the witch took it too hard because she left her shopping basket and walked away. As I turned around, I confirmed what Thomas had said. From 1 second to the next, the woman was simply gone. She had done quite a bit of shopping but hadn't taken anything with her. She definitely took your slap to heart, Thomas said. Yeah, and you know what? That's for the better. She was probably one of those rich girls that nobody ever put in her place. She deserved a reality check. As we paid for our stuff, I looked up, and there she was, staring at us from outside, furious. She was still red, breathing heavily. At that moment, I knew something was wrong, that maybe we should prepare to confront her on the way out. I told Thomas, but when he looked up, she was gone. We walked quickly to the car without running into anyone and got in, ready to leave with our purchases. But something was wrong. The car started but couldn't move. What? No, it can't be. What's wrong, Thomas? I think someone punctured the tires of the car. Outside the car, the woman from before was furious, banging all over our car, full of anger. The woman wasn't trying to get in. She wanted to destroy the car with us inside. How dare you put your filthy, disgusting hand on me, you bitch! I'll kill you and your fucking cockroach family. Leave us alone. My children have done nothing to you. No, I've had enough. I don't care that she's a woman. I'm gonna stop her. Thomas got out of the car in a rage and approached her. He was about to start talking, but the woman immediately electrocuted him with a taser gun and hit him in the knee with her iron pipe. When Thomas fell, she stomped on his face and rubbed her foot as if she was killing a cockroach. The woman had an insane, obsessive look on her face, clearly enjoying the moment. I got out of the car in a hurry to stop her, and with excellent reflexes, she stopped me and hit me hard in the abdomen with her iron pipe. As I lay on the ground, she smashed her pipe into my knee too, laughing. Thomas and I lay sore on the ground. Neither of us knew where the woman was, but luckily, she was nowhere near. We started trying to stand up when suddenly I saw her again and gave a loud scream. The woman had returned with a bucket of gasoline which she was pouring into the car with the children inside. No, stop. You know, I never really cared for that horrible frame. You know what? I hate families like you, particularly the kids. I tried to crawl as fast as I could to somehow stop her. Thomas was doing it too, but he was a little further behind. When I saw her pull out the lighter, I knew all was lost. There was no way I was going to make it in time. Suddenly, a man rammed the woman and another woman opened the car door and pulled the children out. By the time we realized it, the place was surrounded by people. There were few people in the Dollar Tree that day, but the commotion was enough to alert everyone. The police arrived a few seconds later and arrested the lady, who was moving brutally like a wild animal. Shortly after, the family of this girl offered us a huge amount of money not to press charges against this woman, but we refused. Our story became known and many people donated a lot of money to us. Since neither of us could work, we were not going to have a luxurious life, but we were going to be much more comfortable thanks to the people who knew our story. On the other hand, the woman not only lost her lawsuit, but was disinherited by the family who sought to disown her. This woman had never worked before, but when she gets out of jail, she will have to work for the first time so as not to starve to death.